Everyone go to the cameras. All right, guys, we'll start with an opening statement and then go into questions. We have a mic, so just kind of wave us and we'll bring it around. So, Coach.
Well, you can't start this without talking about how awesome it is to have the students in the United Supermarkets Arena. I mean, it is such a different place. And the energy in the building, the energy behind their bench. I know everybody was waiting just to explode, and we teetered offensively. We didn't have one of our best offensive nights, but give Arizona credit, the physical nature at which they play this game. I mean, going into this game, I talked to Tommy Lloyd quite a bit. I didn't talk to him, but I talked to some other coaches in our league, and they said, you know, they felt like it was the most physical team they had played up to this point, the coaches that I'd talked to that played against them. And they wear on you. Just the nature of how they're physical over screens, how they screen you, how every possession on rebounds, the way they back cut, the way they move. I mean, it wore on us, and give them credit because I thought we didn't shoot it well, but a lot of it had to do with just the physical nature of the game and how it fatigues you. And but that's what I loved about this game. I mean, this is the grit that I've been hoping our team believes in, that we can win this way. Two things stand out to me. One, we didn't have Darian Williams' best game, and that's really been hurting us. When he doesn't play great, we struggle mightily. And for us to be able to pull away and have JT and Fede on the floor the way we did that to finish that game, the way JT rebounded, the way Fede rebounded, the way we defended them, the way we didn't give guys that we know can make threes. I mean, they made 3 threes, and one of them was a late clock, bomb by Bryant in the first half. So just for the most part, honestly, felt like the right guys were shooting, and a lot of that was just our guys staying in the fight. First half, we let our offense dictate our defense to finish the half. In the second half, we did not. Felt like we just stayed to it, kept scrapping, didn't shoot it great, but we didn't let it dictate how we played defensively, and it was just not a fun one to watch, I'm sure, but sure is a fun way to win for me.
Yeah, midway through the second half, Arizona started getting to the line, and Awaka started getting on the offensive glass, and it looked like they were about to start to take control, but then that didn't happen, and you just shut them down the stretch. Could you just talk about what changed there?
Yeah, the big part for us is just how well do we rebound as a team. And when you look at the stat sheet, Darian Williams did a great job on the glass with 6. But then Federico and JT, obviously, but I thought Kevin Overton's 5 defensive rebounds, Chance McMillan's 3 defensive rebounds, Christian Anderson stuck his nose in there and got fouled in the first half, kind of when it looked like they were going to cave us in. And that's the part of it to me that when you can team rebound like this, you can win in the Big 12, even on nights when you don't shoot it great. And for us to have 50 rebounds on a team that I think is extremely physical to 34 says a lot about the grit our team went into this game trying to play with.
Coach, you're used to playing the Iowa States of the world, but I mean, did you have trouble wrapping your head around the fact that Arizona's coming in here? Arizona with all their history and tradition coming in here for a conference game now?
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing's weird. I mean, look across college basketball, and Iowa's playing at UCLA. I mean, it's weird. And honestly, I don't try to figure it out. I mean, honestly, we just put our eyes on what we see and how we need to prepare for the team. But yeah, I do think it makes it unique. But like the atmosphere in this place, I love playing programs and teams that have this type of talent and this type of history. And it really does. It makes our league better. And anything that makes our league better, I'm for it.
Arizona started with a 7-0 run to start the second half. Then you came back, and JT had a 7-0 run of his own. What has JT done and improved over these last couple weeks?
Well, y'all know we're better when he's healthy, and it's not close. And he hasn't been healthy for a majority of this season. He wants to play. He really does. He's competitive, and he loves to. And I said this earlier in the year, like he was telling me he wanted to play in the A&M game right after he had some time, but like the more you get to it, the more you realize like there's some things you just can't do. You can't go. That's what I love about JT. He always wants to play. And he was the last one to leave pregame. He's sitting there eating food by himself because he's down weight. He's in the locker room eating at halftime. Like he's really trying to figure out a way to get out there. And when we get all these pieces healthy and we're playing the right way, I mean, we're a really tough team to play against. I mean, we really are. And JT is a difference maker on this team, and today's obvious. I mean, when you play the most physical team that we've played up to this point in our league, in the league, I mean, and he goes for 20 and 16, it just goes to show you when he's on, when he's right, he's a load and really a game changer for our team.
Both offenses throughout the game, probably more in the second half, had some offensive skids. How does it feel as a coach to see your team come out of that at the end to get on that 13-0 run to close it out?
Yeah, I think you got to give Elijah Hawkins a lot of credit because he let his offense and missing a few layups and missing an open three impact the way he competed defensively. But the tear he's on with assist to turnovers is really remarkable. And the fact that he's continuing to play at 9 assists and no turnovers today. I mean, like our skids, I think as he goes, we go right now. And I thought his motor was continuous and he held it down defensively in the second half when we weren't playing great offensively. That's what I love about what he did and what our team did today. And with those skids happening, we still were competing. And that shows me that we're improving and we're growing up and maturing as a team.
Coach, I'm just curious, I guess, would you like to get more production out of your baseline out of bounds plays? And if so, I guess, how do you make that happen?
Go back and watch all the teams that turn it over against their under out of bounds, and it's remarkable, that lead to baskets. And so the last couple names we faced it, you know, we got ourselves in a bad spot with a couple of them, but I thought the play out of the timeout that Coach Linder drew up to get Chance that back cut for a layup was a hugely pivotal one in the under out of bounds. So it just depends on the streaks of the other team. I mean, more teams turn it over against them than they score against them. I mean, it's a remarkable thing that they do. They put somebody huge over the ball. They switch everything, but they're big at every position. We're small at positions. So it works for their team because they don't have any lack of size. I mean, they put 6'4" across the board, 6'4", 6'4", 6'6". I mean, they're big. So it works for their team. And we just feel like we were punting, if you will, so we make sure that we get a good shot. And I think if Elijah was – able to move pieces and we were making threes, we turned down some good looks after we got into it, not shooting threes that we should have shot. So it's kind of more of a game-to-game scenario. We've actually been pretty good under out of bounds, and today against K-State we just decided we were going to punt more so we don't turn it over.
And Arizona did struggle from three, and I guess as they shifted more towards trying to drive to the basket, I guess how did you feel like your guys responded to that?
Oh, I mean, that's been the deal is if you look at their numbers, they're way heavy on making twos and not making threes. They rely on twos. So we just felt like how well do we limit the right guys and make the guys we want to shoot threes. And I thought that was good. But with that goes on their penetration, how do you guard their cutting? And that I was thrilled with. They didn't score off of a cut, not that I remember anyways. So that to me is huge. You go back and look at their team play, and they drive it so hard. And then the one thing we didn't do great was we probably fouled too much, but I would prefer it to be more physical so they don't give up angles and make them earn it than let them turn the corner and then you're having to help and then they're throwing back doors for layups and putting you on your heels.
You said he, during the Kansas State game, didn't necessarily want to put D5 back out there because of the ankle, but you just needed somebody because JT wasn't going. Kind of happens again, but then JT's going. What does that kind of say that you can kind of flip those and come away with wins in different varieties like that?
And because I've been saying it to you all along, this is what I've been waiting for. Like when we can win a game without D5, not at his best for whatever reason, hurt, and trying to play JT and Fetty because we were rebounding to finish this game, and we were getting stops with that lineup, and it was perfect for the way we finished the game. Part of it is getting the right guy to shoot, as you know, and then can you get the ball when it does happen. But, man, that's what the first thing I said to the coaching staff when they got locker room. I mean, to find a way to win and separate down the end, playing those two guys together really said a lot about the way that we were competing defensively. And offensively, I don't think it's clunky, but JT in the post and Fede rebounding, that's a monster to deal with. And then how do you guard it? And you get shots on the perimeter if they overplay it. So that's a great change for us. But really, it's like if they're going to put four guards out there, how do you guard it with JT? And I thought he just played great down the stretch, and we were able to rebound because of it.
And I know you don't like to put too much emphasis on any one game, but this was kind of pretty similar to Iowa State last week, where it was just kind of back and forth, and you just couldn't get that kill shot like you did. Did it feel like you needed that finish, this kind of win, to say, hey, we know we're good and we can compete with the best. We just had to kind of get it done, sort of thing?
No, I completely agree with you. There was 7 minutes to go, or maybe we got like close to that 5 minute mark, and we were sitting in the timeout. And I just looked at these guys, and they were kind of looking around like, we hope we win this game. And I'm like, we're winning this game. You know what I mean? Like, we're winning this game. We are going to win this game. And they start, like, rallying. You can see them trying to figure out, like, but how? You know, like I'll tell these dudes in the huddle, it's not if we're going to win this game. You know what I mean? It's how are we going to win this game? Let's go do it. And I can see that confidence starting to grow at the end of this game. And a lot of it had to do with JT. I mean, if you saw his energy he was playing with late, I mean, he really had a legit difference maker in the way he was competing. And that's the difference in this. I thought we played really hard at the end of the Iowa State game, but we weren't competing. In this one, we were competing.
Coach, with Christian, he's the first off the bench tonight, started the second half, and just really was impressive to me defensively. And I know you talked about that Thursday. But down the stretch, he had that closeout on Love. He shot the three, and then he had the steal by their bench. Could you just touch on how he's been able to keep growing, and obviously why you're able to trust him in those kind of moments defensively?
Yeah, it's funny because people do talk about his offense, and I thought he had like such a great drive at the end of the half to cause confusion, and then he had a couple layups, and just we're playing in the Big 12. I mean, these dudes are elite. I mean, and so you do go through these ebbs and flows of learning and maybe second guessing what to do. One thing he's not second guessing is how to compete defensively in real tough moments and come up with some significant stops when we need them. And he's just not afraid, man. He's got a little bit of like, let me figure this out offensively, and he has his moments, but I think the way he's competing for us and the way he gives us just a look that he's not going to back down defensively, which is what I'm looking for. Because you can mess up some things offensively for us, but can you go out there and like lay it on the line? And he does have that urgency that I'm looking for to compete. And he's only going to get better offensively because he's probably all around maybe the best guard I've ever coached. Like all of it. He really is that good. And he second-guessed himself enough tonight, to their credit, because of their length and athleticism. And they put you in these two-man games in the middle where you're kind of like, I could shoot it, I could not shoot it. Does coach want me to take a bad two? Like, what do I do? And you can just see he's learning that, but it didn't affect him defensively. He's out there scrapping and trying to play hard. And every time he looks at me, he's like, tell me what you need me to do to help us win. And I'm like, I'm rolling with you, man. Let's keep it going.
Coach, I've noticed the last two games mainly, but whenever there's a mistake, multiple guys immediately putting their hand up, hitting their chest, taking that accountability. Just talk about what it's like to have a team that'll take that accountability and how key it is on the floor.
It was the last thing I said to the team before we left the locker room. That starts with Chance McMillan, man. Chance McMillan is – he's such an unbelievable teammate. And nobody's harder on himself. Nobody's harder on him than he is on himself. And he's not playing perfect. He's making a lot of mistakes at times, but he's not shying away from it, you know? So he's really inspirational for me. Because I hope that I'm like Chance. Not just as a coach, but in life. Because the reason why our team is winning is because of him. I mean, he's playing 36 minutes. He doesn't come off the floor, and he's just competing at all times to help the team win. And he just never deflects. He never blames. I'm talking never blames his teammates. And he's told me on several occasions, coach me as hard as you can, and I'll make sure you don't lose the locker room. And it's just to his credit that our guys are that way. Thank y'all.